back to Rocky Mountain Prepper. I'm Bellum. Now, I've got a little scenario and a question for you. The grid is down, and you killed a pig. What are you going to do with all that pork? Can't eat it all in one day before it goes bad. Yeah, you could make some bacon, but not a lot. So what do? Well, my great-grandparents would yell at me for even thinking to not make salt pork. So today, we're going to make some salt pork. And over here I have a 1-gallon crock. And in the bottom, I have a layer of salt. Now, I'm going to put in the pork, which no thicker than an inch. You try to get it about an inch by inch cube. Some places it doesn't work that way because this was up against the bone. It's hard to do. So, stick it in so that the fat is to the outside or to the bottom. Show you in just a second. As soon as I get a good layer done. Alright, like that. Good view? Okay. Now what you do is you put a good layer of salt. Now, this is kosher salt. I'm also going to be using some pickling salt as soon as this gets done, but you just get a good decent coating on it. Then you put more in. Then after that, we're going to fill this container with a very salty brine. Now, my great-grandparents actually used the same brand. You want to use a meat cure just because it helps kill the botulism bacteria. Bacteria responsible for botulism. You don't want that in your stuff. And it helps to preserve stuff. So I like to put this into the liquid, into the brine. Yes, I know. A lot of you are complaining now that, oh, he's using nitrates. It's not that much. And it's not going to hurt you. And I would rather eat nitrates and risk heart issues and heart disease and whatever else people claim that they get from nitrates than botulism toxin. Because you eat that and you die. Just straight up, just dead. So, I'm going to keep filling this up. And this is actually a just about 8-pound pork butt. I found it on sale. But it's good to illustrate the idea that you've gotten a pork and you don't have access to the grid. You've gotten a pig. Maybe it's a wild pig. Who knows? Who cares? And the only reason pickling salt is good is because it's a fine textured salt, dissolves quickly, and has no caking agent. Well, anti-caking agent to keep it from getting all clumpy. So it can actually get clumpy. So it's as pure a salt as you can actually get, and that's why a lot of people like to use it for this. Now this will end up tasting incredibly salty, but that's okay. Because salt preserves your food. And all you have to do is soak it in water overnight before you cook with it. And then you might not even need to add some more salt when you're done doing when you're cooking. Because it may season the meat for you, or the whole dish for you. Now, when you're making salt pork, you've got to keep an eye on it. Check it every day. And if it starts getting scum floating on top, pour the liquid into a container and bring it to a boil and let it boil for 30 minutes. That'll kill any of the bacteria that are growing in there that you don't want, and it'll get rid of the scum. And there should be another box of salt somewhere. Oh, up there. Can you grab it down? About 8 pounds of pork and this 1 gallon container is just about full. I'll show you in a second. So far we've used more than 3 pounds of salt. You don't have to get every little inch of it covered with salt because you are going to be adding the brine in there. Now, some people prefer their salt pork what's called country style, where they just pack it in salt and that's it. I'm not a fan of that. Mainly because I was raised on salt pork that did not was not the dry salt pork, it was brined. Now, okay, before I put the brine in it, I'm going to show you. See? It's packed in there. That's pretty heavy. And this will just stay on the counter. You don't have to refrigerate it. Now, this was almost at a boil. So most all the salt is dissolved in it. That's how I know that there's enough salt in it. It's salty enough because it's not dissolving more. And then I just pour it over top. I did let it cool for a bit. You let it soak down and bubble down. And this should take up some of the space so I can put the weights in and keep the pork submerged. Because you do want it covered and to stay covered. And that's why some of them come with this. So you can kind of tamp it down and get the air pockets out. The air pockets are your enemy. And in a week, this will be all nice and brined and ready to go. All right. Thanks for watching. And as always, good luck, God bless, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.